So, my name is James Dangley. I work with Land Tech Services. This is test trial video number 1. I'm going to be showing you how to do a repair on a 2-inch main line. We got a small break here. When they installed it, they just didn't push it in far enough, so it ended up popping out. But I'm going to show you how to fix everything you see here. And it's going to be a little scratchy and a little rough, but this first video, I'm trying to pitch it to my boss, so we're gonna find out. Now, I'm gonna try and keep it in frame, but it's gonna get a little wobbly. I'll show you, I'll pick it up and do cuts of everything that's important. So really, step 1 is identify the leak. So I've already done that. I've already pre-dug it so that y'all don't have to see all that nonsense. Get all your tools ready, your glue, primer, the parts you need. Go ahead and have an idea about what you're going to do before you even start to cut, because you don't want to have to do it all over again once you get in there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back over here, cut out here, and give myself room to work here. I'm going to apply a bell here, redo my 45 here, and redo what they have going on, because it would have worked if they had just glued it properly. And that happens. Also, a main tip, this is a 2-wire system. You can see our blue wire here. Don't cut the wire. Always keep the wire out the way. You cut it, then you got to splice it and do a box and all. It's a lot of nonsense. All right, let's cut into the work, shall we? So, let's see. And what I got cut is already just like a rough piece. I'm going to cut it again, but it's good to give yourself some play. And we're going to switch I'm going to do a bunch of work, and I'm going to come back and show you what I've done. All right, so when you do these cuts, make sure you get very nice cut. If you're attaching a bell, then it doesn't have to be perfect because you got a lot of room to work with here. But when you do like a 45 or a 90, you want it straight as possible, as straight as you can get it. But so I'm going to cut this side now, and then we're going to primer everything up. Make sure you dig out underneath too, so you got plenty of room to work with. So like, that's a pretty flat cut. You're not going to be perfect every time. Make sure you clean the frills. Be careful though, the pipe can cut you. You are cutting, so it can scrape your fingers. I usually use a glove, but experienced players can do it right. You know what I'm saying? Clean here. Primer. This is all going to be primer. All the edges primered. I'm going to put a few things together, and then we're going to show you how it's done. All right, so when you have awkward angles, you got to really figure things out. So I was looking at it, and the way they had it just really wasn't going to apply. So my brain came up with flat here, 45 into a 90, come back up. Here we are. So it's not going to look exactly like this, because this has to go back. So I got to dig a little bit more underneath here to give that a good straight down, so we can come over nice and clean, so we can get a nice clean finish in here and not have to see it again. All right guys, this section's going to be a little bit longer just because I'm going to give an uncut version of exactly everything that I do here. So I'm going to glue these two together, your 45 and your bell, which is going to do this. Why glue these? Because I can spin it down here better than I can just trying to spin this. Always a little much on the primer. You don't really have to worry about too much. You want to get that on there nice and good. The glue though, you don't need a lot of glue. Now, you want a good amount of glue. Inside, on the inside here, Just a nice little swipe, nothing crazy. Just a nice, fair, easy coat on the outside, nothing crazy. Firm, twist, and then hold. Because you can see how it pops out a little bit. Hold that shit in. Give it a second. Let it sit. Especially when you got bigger pipe. You're anything above an inch, man, you gotta let it sit. You gotta hold it for a nice, firm snag. Especially if it's mainline. Mainline, don't mess around. Make sure it's right so we don't have to come back and fix it like we're doing now. Because this is our own company and this is our own fault, so we're doing it, I'm doing it, I'm the guy. But you call somebody to come out and fix this for you, it can get pricey. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get this guy glued in here. More primer. Like I say, you can never have too much primer. Glue inside the bell, but make sure there's primer. Not a whole lot, just enough. And I'm going around down here. Now when you do this part, it's gotta be right. So get it on there, set it, and hold it. Now, experience shows me that, you know, which angle I need to put it at, but if you don't have it right, it's gonna pop out on you. All right, it looks pretty good. Now we're gonna go with the 90s. Now I like to construct these beforehand. So, you know, he's gonna go into there. And like our toughest point is gonna be that. So we got a little play here. So we'll probably shove into here, click on. So we're gonna wanna have this guy set in there. So how do you judge that? Well, where's the little piece of pipe? This is a cut piece I had from earlier. How does it play? A little bit. All right, guys. So this is something I want to explain. So like we have everything. I thought I was doing it right. But look, if you don't get it just right, you're going to miss it. Because down here, see how it looks like it's proper, and yeah, it fits. This fits, but this to this is not going to fit. Why? Because you can see the downgrade just a little bit there. So I've already shaved off like half an inch here. I'm just going to do another sliver, maybe another half an inch, which will bring this up a hair. And since we have play here, that's what we're going to do. We want to be up a little bit so everything fits nice. We don't want to force it. You don't want to force it. And when shaving off an inch or half an inch or a piece, it gets pretty tight. I try and put my foot, and then you're gonna have to really find, you know, half an inch, and then go slow. Always start slow so you can get a nice cut. Remember, you want it to be flat. When you get these smaller pieces trying to come off, it gets sketchy. And once you get a nice good cut going on, keep your blade steady. Give it some power. And go all the way through with the cut. You don't want a little piece of plastic on the other end. It'll stop you. And then remember, always get rid of the flares. It's better, cleaner. And you get a nice clean cut like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty good. Just remember, you can always cut more off, but you can't push it back unless you gotta start fresh with a new bell or a cup link. And that can be really annoying sometimes. So, I did my cut. We're gonna go in here. I'm gonna glue it to my 90 first, and then into my 45. And then I'm gonna come in with a double glue into my 90 down and onto my pipe here. Why? Because I have play here and I can adjust here. I got play here, and I can adjust, but it's going to be a lot easier to go down and over than it is to try and get into here. So my knees are starting to hurt, so I'm gonna go get the pads and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back again. So I got my 90 glued. Now, I'm a double check, triple check kind of guy. So I'm gonna recheck a little bit here. Looks pretty appropriate. And I'm gluing this one first because this was our problem in the first place, was this guy didn't want to stick. So we're gonna make sure that connection is right. So, like we've said before, primer, glue that bitch. And when you glue, especially down there, when you pop it in, get it right. Put your strength into it, because it's all you got. One time, and I think I nailed it. It looks pretty good. And we hope for the best. And we got play, and we're gonna go for the next and final thing. Now you can kind of check your abilities here, but it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be an in and a shove over. You're gonna be able to see all that, kind of. I'm gonna be in the way a little bit, so maybe. So it's gonna be kind of tough. And once I start the glue process, you gotta finish. You gotta give it your all at this point. Primer. Go in with confidence. Don't go in all willy-nilly. We'll fuck it up. Glue all the parties. We're going all the parties this one, so make sure they're right. Come on. Tighten her down. Give it a full grip. Pull it up from the bottom. Now, it took a lot to get on there, and it looks a little crazy going on. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but there's glue all over the place. All the connections are strong and sound. We got a full connection here. I watched it go on. Full connection down here. I felt it. I pulled it up. This was already sealed. We're already sealed back here. We're not fixing this one again. Why? Because it's done right and it's permanent. All right, guys. So here's the finished product. So like, you want to eliminate the amount of like T's and 90s and 45s you can use. It's just pressure loss. Of course it's necessary, but the less you can use, if you don't have to do like a giant fucking choo-choo train in here, then don't do it. All right, so this concludes our little fix here. I know it's kind of rough and patchy. I'm not a YouTuber, but this is something that's interesting. So maybe I'll watch, maybe you won't. So now here, technically, you can wait. Anything above 2-inch, you want to give it 24-hour set. You want that glue to dry. So we're gonna wait till tomorrow before we turn the water back on. But I'm gonna cover it up. I'm gonna clean up all this dirt that we blew out, because that's what happens when a main line leaks. And then that's it. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a nice day. quick recap. This is what it should look like when you're done. Can't really tell where the leak was, but it was there. Cleaned up sidewalk. I would clean it up more with the brush, but they still got to come back with landscaping and shit, so there's no point. But looks good enough for now, and we're all done with our repair job. Thanks for watching. James out.